तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। भूतैर्महद्भिर्यमा पुरो विभु निर्मायश्येते यदमुषु पुरुषा भूते गुणान् षोडश षोडशात्मका सोलङ्कृशिष्ट भगवान् वचांसि मे। श्री कृष्ण शरणं शरणागतम् कथा अमृतं सततपीबतम् भक्ति वेदांत मार्ग पंथनम् सर्वलोक ऋषिदेव जन प्रसन्नम् सर्वलोक ऋषिदेव जन प्रसन्नम्। Hare Krishna, dear Prabhus and Mataji. So welcome to the morning Srīmad Bhāgavatam study session. So we are continuing with the verses on the reasons Kunti Maharani is giving for Krishna's appearance in this material world. So these verses are wonderful. The reasons for Krishna's appearance is starting from text number 33. Text number 32. So we see that even within these reasons, there's bewilderment, there's contradiction, because although he's unborn, he is born. Kunti Maharani says, Kechidahurajam chatam punyashlokasya kirtaye yadopriyasyan bhavaye malayasya chandanam. Some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings, and others say he is born to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. You appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malaya hills. Apare vasudevasya devakyam yachito bhyagat ajastvam yasya shemaya vadhaya cha suradvisham. Others say that since both Vasudev and Devaki prayed for you, you have taken birth as their son. Undoubtedly, you are unborn, yet you take birth for their welfare and to kill those who are envious of demigods. Bharavatarnanye bhuvanav ivodato sidantya bhuribharena jato hyatma bhuvartitaha. Others say that the world being overburdened like a boat at sea is much aggrieved. And Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and so you have appeared to diminish the trouble. Bhavesmin klishyamana avidya kama karma bhihi shravana smarana harini karishyanniti kechana. And yesterday we were looking at this verse. And yet others say that you appeared to rejuvenate the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshipping, and so on, in order that the conditioned souls suffering from the material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. So let's look at the word to word for this verse. This is wonderful and most relevant to us, especially because we are the conditioned souls. We are suffering in this material world. And here is a prescription for us to get out of the material world given by Kuntī Maharani, Bhave, in the material creation. So we are all in the material creation. Asmin, this. And what is the nature of this material creation? Klishyamanam, of those who are suffering from. So this one rule is certain, that there is suffering in this material world, whether we accept it or not. If we accept it, half the battle already has been won, because we have lost hope in this material world to be happy, because this place is not of happiness. If we still have hope that no, this material world is for enjoyment and happiness, then two types of energies of Krishna. One is he is covering potency, he is covering the nature of this world and the nature of himself, transcendental nature of himself, by Maya. And the other potency of Maya is the throwing tendency, the throwing illusory energy, which when one tries to undertake devotional service, Krishna's throwing potency, Maya, tests that devotee and allures him that no, why do you want to do control of senses? Why do you want to restrict yourself? This material world is for enjoyment, and it will present various allurements. This is the throwing potency of the Lord. So in either case, throwing or covering, we can become implicated that no, this material place is a place for enjoyment. However, when we read these verses from Bhagavad Gita, Krishna Dev says, Dukhalayam Shashvatam, this material world is temporary, and Dukhalayam is an ocean of miseries. And here in this verse, Bhave Asmin, this material creation, Klishyamanam, and we are all suffering in this material creation. Then we can get some hint that yes, actually, it is a material world of suffering. And we are living a life of hope. They say, hoping against hope. That no, we will be able to do all right. We will be able to create a permanent place of happiness in this place. And all this is due to three reasons. In the second line, it is given. Avidya, kama, karmibihi. So firstly, avidya is there, ignorance or nescience. And when we approach a bona fide spiritual master, he opens our eyes. Therefore, the first verse in the morning that we chant before reading Srīmad Bhāgavatam is Om Ajnanam Timir Andhasya. So, Ajnana means ignorance or nescience. Timir Andhasya, our eyelids are covering our eyes, preventing us the vision of the reality. And andhasya, we are blind. However, jnananjana shalakaya. But the spiritual master is putting an ointment of knowledge in our eyes, shalakaya. Jnananjana shalakaya. And then what is it doing? Chakshur unmilitam yena. He's opening our eyes, chakshur unmilitam yena, and making us see the things as they are, that we can only be happy in spiritual life and not in material life. And therefore, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha, we offer our obeisances unto that spiritual master. And Srila Prabhupada every morning is opening our eyes and making us see the world through the scriptures and ourselves through the scriptures. And what are we undergoing due to ignorance? Karma. We have unnatural desires. And due to those unnatural desires, we are karma-bhi, executing fruitive work. And this fruitive work, due to avidya, and unnatural or wrong desires, they are implicating us in this material world. So what is the way out? In the third line, Kuntī Maharani says, Shravana, hearing, Smarana, remembering, Arhani, worshipping. So this three-form formula, hearing about Krishna, remembering about Krishna, and worshipping about Krishna. If we simply hear about Krishna, worship him, and remember him, then our lost Krishna consciousness is revived. Karishyan may perform, iti thus kechana. Others, many others saying that this is the reason for their appearance. And as yesterday we were discussing, as far as we are concerned, this is the most appealing reason to us because we are all suffering due to avidya, ignorance, karma, desires, and karmibhi, and our fruitive activities. Any questions or comments for Guru Mataji's? So we'll move on to the next verse, text number 36. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudire. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Shrinvanti gayanti grananti abhikshasa smaranti nandanti tavehitam janaha taeva pashyanti achirena tavam bhava pravaha paramam padambujam. It's a very wonderful verse. So basically, now Kuntī Maharani is concluding the reasons for Krishna's appearance. So in the last line, she gives that he comes to rejuvenate the process of hearing, worshipping, and remembering. And as a conclusion to all the reasons, now she's giving the essence of what we have to do. And what will the result of that devotional service that we do, which is based on hearing, starting with hearing. Would anyone like to recite this verse and read the purport and the translation?
I can do, Prabhu.
Yes, yes. Yes, ma'am. Anyone?
I can do.
Yes, yes. Mataji, go ahead.
Shrinvanti gayanti grananti abhikshanash smaranti nandanti tavehitam janaha ta eva pashyanti acharena tavakam bhava pravaho paramam padambujam. Translation: O Krishna, those who continuously hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities, or take pleasure in others doing so, certainly see your lotus feet, which alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Supreme Lord Sri Krishna cannot be seen by a present conditional vision. In order to see him, one has to change his present vision by developing a different condition of life, full of spontaneous love of Godhead. When Sri Krishna was personally present on the face of the globe, not everyone could see him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Materialists like Ravan, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, Jarasan, Shishupal were highly qualified personalities by acquisition of material assets, but they were unable to appreciate the presence of the Lord. Therefore, even though the Lord may be present before our eyes, it is not possible to see him unless we have the necessary vision. This necessary qualification is developed by the process of devotional service only, beginning with hearing about the Lord from the right sources. The Bhagavad Gita is one of the popular literatures which are generally heard, chanted, repeated, etc. by the people in general. But in spite of such hearing, etc., sometimes it is experienced that the performer of such devotional service does not see the Lord eye to eye. The reason is that the first item, Shravana, is very important. If hearing is from the right sources, it acts very quickly. Generally, people hear from unauthorized persons. Such unauthorized persons may be very learned by academic qualifications, but because they do not follow the principles of devotional service, hearing from them becomes a sheer waste of time. Sometimes the texts are interpreted fashionably to suit their own purposes. Therefore, first one should select a competent and bona fide speaker and then hear from him. When the hearing process is perfect and complete, the other processes become automatically perfect in their own way. Should I stop here, Mama?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you so much. So Srila Prabhupada here is emphasizing on this point quite emphatically, that the first process, the first step in devotional service is of hearing. And if hearing is proper, then all other processes will follow nicely. So, and one should hear from a bona fide speaker. And that bona fide speaker, Srila Prabhupada later on goes to describe, it should be niskinchana, says in spreading this Krishna conscious movement is because I have myself being faithful to present the message of Krishna consciousness as my spiritual master told, without any changes. And we can see in Srila Prabhupada's purports that each line of his purport almost is translation or purport of a verse of Srīmad Bhagavad Gita, Srīmad Bhāgavatam, or Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Prabhupada is not presenting anything new. He's just repeating it in an effective manner inspired by the Supreme Lord Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada used to say that I haven't actually written this book. He used to be surprised and shocked when the printing of his books, Bhagavatam especially, would come to him. He would open and start reading it, and he would shake his head and he would say, Krishna has made me write this. Our spiritual master used to say that the about Srila Prabhupada, the thing about Srila Prabhupada is that he is the only one coming from the Eastern world or Eastern religion who brought about purity even in the field of spirituality. Otherwise, even within the field of spirituality, there is impurities there. What are these impurities? Impurities of fruitive work that religion is used to fulfill material desires. Other impurities, the purities of impersonalism, which is spread throughout, India almost. The impurity of voidism, that the whole material world or the whole spiritual realm is void, actually, is null and void. There's no existence. And Srila Prabhupada brought about purity even in the field of spirituality. And therefore, when people hear his books, read his books, then they are inclined to take devotional service. Why? Because the hearing is from the right source. I myself have had various experience. I've read a few versions of Bhagavad Gita, but I did not find it as impactful as making an internal transformation as was the case when I read Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita. And of course, what to say of Srīmad Bhāgavatam. So when we look at word to word of this nice verse, and I hope Prabhus and Matajis, you all are sincerely trying to memorize all of Kuntī Maharani prayers, 26 altogether. And if you do it every day, morning and in the evening, recite this whole set of prayers, it doesn't take that long. It may take 7 to 8 minutes. And try to study it word to word and go into the depths of these verses. Then we will, experience that Srīmad Bhāgavatam indeed, through these verses, is speaking to us. So, Shrinvanti here, Gayanti, chant, Grinanti, take, Abhikshnashaha, continuously. So our process of hearing, chanting, and taking this process has to be abhiksnasha continuously. Not that one day we do and 6 days we miss, next week we don't do at all, then once in a while we log in. No matter where we are hearing, what we are hearing, of course, it matters what we are hearing. We have to hear Srila Prabhupada and devotees in the line of Srila Prabhupada. But it has to be like this continuously. Now, in this way, if it's continuous, then smaranti, remember, nandanti, take pleasure. Now, this is very important. This process of Shrinvanti, Gayanti, Grinanti, Bhikshnasa, Smaranti, this process of hearing, chanting, and remembering, what will it give us? It will give us pleasure. And not it will only give us pleasure, but if we simply just are witness to others who are doing these activities, then the ihitam, your ihitam activities, jana, people in general. So in the translation, we see that Srila Prabhupada translates very nicely, O Krishna, those who continuously, abhikshnasha means continuously, hear, chant, and repeat your transcendental activities, or take pleasure in others doing so. So even if we are not able to do it, but we take pleasure in others doing so, this activity of hearing, chanting, and remembering Krishna, certainly they also become qualified because they are free from envy. Certainly see your lotus feet. Ta eva pashyanti. They eva certainly pashyanti. Pashyanti means can see. So one can see the lotus feet of Krishna through these pages of Srīmad Bhāgavatam. And in what time? In no time at all. Achirena. Achirena means very soon. Chirena means in long time. Achirena means in no time at all. Tavakam, yo, bhava pravaha, the current of birth, rebirth, uparamam, cessations, pada ambujam, lotus feet. So one who sees the lotus feet of Krishna alone can stop the repetition of birth and death. And through the pages of Srīmad Bhāgavatam, we can certainly see the lotus feet of Krishna. There is a nice verse in Srīmad Bhāgavatam spoken by Brahmaji, and I think we have looked at this verse at some stage. Brahmaji there, he says that yetu tvadiya charanam bhuja kosha gandham, that, O Krishna, there is a fragrance, charana ambuja, the inner core of your lotus feet, kosha gandham. And how can we get access to this fragrance of the lotus feet of the Lord? Jigranti karna vivarai shruti vata nitam. When shruti vata, when the air of Vedic sound carries the aroma of Krishna's lotus feet to our ears, then through the ears it enters the heart. And within the course of our heart, we can smell the fragrance of the lotus feet of Krishna and hold onto it very tightly. Jigranti karna vivarai shruti vata nitam. So in this way, we can see the Lord. The other ways was Srutikshita, that through the channel of ears, Ikshita, we can see the Lord. So this process of hearing and chanting and remembering definitely results in Pashyanti, giving us the transcendental vision that Achirena, in no time at all, we can see Padambujam, the lotus feet of Krishna. And seeing the lotus feet of Krishna means Bhava Pravaho Paramam. This there'll be cessation of from the cycle of Bhava, the reputation of birth and death. Now, on this note of abhikshnasha, that's very important, that daily Bhagavatam, Nitya Bhagavatam Sevaya. And again, when we look at the pastimes of the wives of the Brahmanas, so the wife of the Brahmanas is given in the 23rd chapter of 10th canto of Srīmad Bhagavatam. We see that they were living on the border of Mathura and Vrindavan. So they never saw Krishna because Krishna would not venture to the border region. However, once Krishna had come there nearby and he requested for foodstuff, and the husbands ignored, they were doing yajna, but the Brahmana's wives, when they were asked by the cowhead boys, they agreed to not only give the food, but they themselves they agreed to come and give it to Krishna and feed Krishna. So Srīmad Bhagavatam says that as they were going with the preparations which was meant to be offered in the yajna at Purnahuti, at the end of the yajna, then somehow or the other, even though Nishidhyamanaha means they were prohibited by Patibihi, their husbands, Bhratibihi, their brothers, Bandhubihi, their relatives, Sutahi, their sons. However, they did not stop. Why did not they stop? Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Dirghashruta Dhritashaya. Bhagavatam very nicely says, because that what won out was that for a long time, Dirgha, Dirgha means for a long time. So, we say that when we take blessings in the, ancient times, the tradition is there to touch, the elders' feet. And so when we take blessings, one of the blessings that, the elders or the spiritual master, they give is Dirgha Ayu Bhava. So Dirgha means long, Ayu means age, Bhava. May you live long. Dirgha Ayu Bhava. So here it is said, Dirgha Shruta Dhrita Ashaya. So for a long time, Dirgha Shruta, they were hearing all the pastimes of Krishna. So the gopis, which used to bring the milk items, the yogurt items to sell to these brahmanas or donate through the brahmanas' wives, then they used to narrate the pastimes of Krishna in Vrindavan. And every day, the brahmanas' wives used to hear the pastimes of Krishna. So like that, we are hearing every day the pastimes of Krishna. And they were dhrita. Dhrita means they were fixed. They were holding tightly into hearing the pastimes of Krishna. And because they acquired this qualification of hearing the pastimes of Krishna, ashayaha, their expectations were only for devotional service of Krishna. Dirgha Shruta Nidashayaha. And they were only hearing about Krishna, Bhagavati Uttama Shloke. And in this way, they were able to overcome the external obstacles of their husbands, sons, brothers, fathers, and relatives, stopping them from seeing Krishna. So in the translation, it is very nicely said, although their husbands, brothers, sons, and other relatives try to forbid them from going, their hope of seeing Krishna, cultivated by extensive hearing of his transcendental qualities, won out. Won out. So if we also want to be a winner in devotional service, we also want to be a winner in life, then this is the sure formula that Dirgha Shruta Dhritavashayaha. For a long time, we have to daily hear Srīmad Bhāgavatam. And we will see how wonderful Bhāgavatam works in our lives, that no matter what the obstacles may be, either external or internal, in our circumstances, most of the obstacles are our own minds and our own mental speculations. But nonetheless, if we are very well grounded in process of reading Srila Prabhupada's books and discussing with each other, then we will be a winner in the end. As Srīmad Bhāgavatam says, Tato Jayam Mudirayet. The Srīmad Bhāgavatam is the very means of conquest. I'm sorry, Prabhus and Mataji's time is up, but this is an important verse. And so we'll continue with the discussion of this verse tomorrow as well. So please read the purport again and again. Try to memorize these verses and meditate on these verses throughout the day. And throughout the day, we are with Krishna in this way. Grantha Srīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Hare Krishna.